All right, man, I am back with you, Wally. I'm Dr. Kendo. You are Wally Wynn of the task force. Should I have let you introduce yourself? I bogarted it. But yeah, so we're actually doing one of these discussion videos, which I really like doing these with you because we just have a similar brain when it comes to like Nintendo and gaming and all of that. Yeah, so I was like, well, Wally, do you want to try out this game that I think everybody was pissed at while we're going to do it? I think they were pissed, right? Because Chillin' by the Fire came out when they were like, you could have done so many other games for the Switch 2, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, you did this, and it costs like $20 or something, and the Switch 2 costs, $500 if you got the bundle. But anyway. Yeah. So, thanks for being with me. I actually said, there's certainly topics we could go with. We'll start the fire going here to try to catch on to these logs. If you see a log pop up, every now and then they'll come all around us just like on the beach somewhere. So we'll just grab them and we'll put them onto this big stump thing. So
That's like how far away were the logs?
I don't know how far you could go. We have two separate tents. They thought we don't want to sleep together. But anyway, yeah, so I was saying, there's a lot of topics we could do or whatever, but probably the one that's at least somewhat recent and pressing is just about Pokemon in general, and I wanted us to have this honest conversation or discussion about what really is the state of Pokemon these days, because you and me grew up in the 90s, I was born in 86, you were born shortly thereafter, but yeah, so I was thinking Pokemon is quite different, but there are some things that are the same, right? But yeah, we just had Pokémon Legends ZA came out somewhat recently as we record this, and so I gotta ask you, did you play that game yet or no?
No, I haven't. Haven't even purchased it yet. So,
yeah.
No.
Yeah, was it in your plans, or are you not really that interested, or?
It was in my plans at first, and I understand. By someone that I'm not the most skilled at Pokemon. I love the anime though. You know what I mean? But not. I like playing the game. Like you and I, we played Sword and Shield a lot together, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And the action, the way you battle now, and you still how I panic if I see one of the what you call the Pokemon when they're rage, is that the right word, when they got the red eyes and the red aura?
Yeah, the alpha.
How I would panic and I got to try to battle it. Oh my god, it would be it would be crazy. But
we got the fire.
But yeah, that's why I didn't haven't purchased it yet, because I didn't know how much I was going to play it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What about you?
So I've got the game. I actually streamed it on Dr. Kendo commentaries and everything. Look at us reaching campfire level 2. But I was thoroughly disappointed, man. It sucks because, I think you and I could get blasted no matter which opinion we give on this, so it's probably good that you haven't given one, but people are pretty hardcore about their opinions on this game because they're either yes, it's effing amazing, or it's just this is terrible. People are pretty extreme on it. So anyway, point being, I didn't think it really merited the amount of money that I spent on it, man. Games are expensive nowadays, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
To me, it's I did not think it was worth it for sure, but I think for the reason that I bring that up is just because we should give our sentiment on Legends ZA, so I think we can kind of segue that into ZA a little bit, but I don't know, did you watch Kit and Krista talk about it? Because Kit and Krista said that the development budget was leaked, and, I remember the Terra leak just like you probably do, but, I don't remember them talking about a budget for it. And so, the game's budget was apparently $13 million, and they say that that's on the low side. And so, ultimately, to me, that's not considering any of the marketing or any stuff like that, but, I think they should put a lot more into the development budget if they're not, like, if they're saving some for marketing or whatever. Make the Pokemon games amazing, dude. Like, because this is one of the biggest franchises in the entire world.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
And so that was a big thing, is like, now that here's my overall thoughts on like Pokemon. We'll probably bring this back up in a little bit, but like, it does relate to ZA in that finally there are some other contenders. People are gonna hate this too, but like Palworld exists. You know, a lot of people hate on Palworld and stuff like that. I mean, it's not even a direct competitor to Pokemon. It just has some things. It's kind of more like Arc, apparently. But
yeah.
Anyway, the point being just that there are other monster tamers too. There's a game called Coromon. I mean, like, there probably are some that are of varying degrees of sizes where someone will be like, that's not a true competitor, it's too small. You know, everybody can debate that if they want to. But my point being just that with time, there's only going to be, I think, more competition in general. That can be a good thing, you know, competition. It kind of breeds, like, more innovation, you hope, you know, better games, hopefully. It's just Pokemon and Nintendo themselves, they have this, like, high risk of either resting on their laurels or actually doing the innovation, right? Like, in the face of competition. So, that's my thought on Pokemon, and I think with Legends ZA, it's like, I remember Legends Arceus was so cool that I kind of had like high hopes for ZA and stuff, but the more stuff that came out about it, I was just like, I don't know, like, I'm not so sure about this, because Palworld kind of did everything better that I wanted out of ZA, which was like the real-time kind of battling instead of turn-based battling.
Yeah.
And of course, in Palworld, you can like take a club or a gun or something and actually hit the Pokemon yourself, you know, so you're never going to be able to do that in a Pokemon game. Yeah. So, anyway, as far as Legends ZA goes, it's just like, I just kind of wish better. I think it's like an okay game, you know, so like if you have the money to like burn and you have the Switch 2, you could play it on Switch 1, but I've played it on Switch 2. It's like, I think then maybe it's like alright, but if you don't have money to spare, and you know, this economy's rough, dude. I think we've been talking about that in all our discussion videos. It's like the economy is not doing hot. You know, isn't everybody feeling the pain, don't you think?
I know I am.
Yeah, I was like, isn't everybody feeling the squeeze, basically? So, I don't know, dude. Look at me, I'm blowing on this fire. Oh, yeah. So now we can start doing, like, medium-sized sticks. You know, we have a lot of them hanging around here. We can probably start doing them on the top like that. Yeah, look at that thing. And so, with the economy and stuff like that, I was just thinking, like, dude, I mean, if they aren't going to put a huge portion of it into the development of the game, but instead are going to kind of rely on marketing or whatever, I think marketing's fine. The Pokemon Company actually does a lot with, like, influencers more than they used to. And I would know, because, like, I've done work with the Pokemon Company as, like, an influencer, right? As a content creator. So ultimately, though, it's like, I think that they could have a smaller marketing budget or, like, localization budget and stuff and put more into development is the whole point of that. But let's think about Pokemon as in the last decade, Wally, and let's relate it to our childhood and whatnot, and the Pokemon that we had maybe when we were in like middle and high school and stuff when it was first coming out. So, what do you have any thoughts like that just kind of jump at you when I say that? Like, okay, compare it to, you know, the times of old, and what is it like now? You know, do you like something better, or is it like all much worse? You know, do you have any feelings on that?
Well, like you said, Pokemon Arceus. Did I pronounce it right? Yeah, I did. Right.
Arceus, but it's all good. People debate that a lot.
Tomato, I guess.
Yeah, right.
But you know, I actually enjoyed that as well. I like that because, like you said, kind of, and I hate, you know, to bring Palworld back up into this.
It's gonna happen.
You know, but you know, I enjoy playing Palworld. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, back in the day, like the turn-based, like even like turn-based, like RPGs, I was never the biggest fan. I like action RPG, like where you still like um Kingdom
Mm-hmm.
Hearts type of playing. It's action in it, but it might got some RPG like
Mm-hmm.
things about it, which is what I like about Palworld. You can still use weapons and your pal. They go off and do their own thing, and I think the new Pokemon game is pretty much like that. But
Mm-hmm.
what I think about from back in the day, that's why I didn't play many of the games back in the day because turn-based battle, it didn't keep my interest. You
Yeah.
know,
Okay.
but I always respected the strategy behind it, and I always loved again the I always loved the Pokemon like the anime and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I always be a fan of it. So, but as far as the games go, again back in the day, of course I know the games had friends and family that played the games a lot. I just didn't play many of the games growing up.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's kind of a good point too, is like, that is a question that's loaded with a lot of directions you could go. I was kind of like, I'm glad that you gave me just sort of your general rundown, because it's like, it's true. There's Pokemon, the video games, but consider how many other media pieces Pokemon has. Do you remember, Wally, when it first was coming out, did you ever see this or get this? But like, if you had Nintendo Power, they sent you a VHS. Do you remember that?
No.
Okay, so like, I had Nintendo Power for a little while, it was like, Nintendo Power was peak, of course, but for Nintendo Power subscribers, they done sent this VHS tape that was all about Pokemon, and at the time it was out in Japan, but like, we didn't know jack nothing about it in North America. And
Right.
so this tape, like, they went all out with it, dude. I still own the tape. You can actually find it online, so you don't have to have a VHS to watch it anymore. It's like on probably, I don't even know if it's on YouTube. I watched it on like one of those other ones, like Daily Motion or something, one of those other websites. But yeah. So this tape introduced you to what Pokemon is, but they like had it almost like as like skits. And by the way, forgive my voice. I was just beating up on my voice recently, so I've been like cracking and vocal frying and all this stuff. So just to address the unspeakable here, but yeah. So this tape was really cool. It's a really great way to introduce what Pokemon was, because they also like showed all these characters that would never show up in the show. So it was like Ash's teacher, like his science teacher. We never actually met that person in the anime, but they had this like cool, like well, I guess he was like a really nerdy, this like dude that was supposed to be his science teacher talking about the world of Pokemon, but like also Misty's best friend. We like never met her, but she would be like in this little skit and stuff in the VHS. It was really cool. And so Pokemon, it's like they knew exactly what they were doing. I don't know if the blueprint was there for them in Japan and that's why, or just like, how do you think they knew this? Because they took the world by storm immediately, as in it just hit the ground running. Yeah, it's like, we're not just going to release a video game. It's like they knew we're going to have bed sheets and curtains. They even announced this thing where you're going to see like the Volkswagen Bug. It's like a Pikachu version of a Volkswagen Bug. They're like, this is going to be all over the United States, so make sure to try to catch the Pikachu Bug. Like, they had a name for it, like the Pokemon Bug. And so like they had this whole campaign ready to go without any release yet in the US, we should specify again. They had it in Japan for about a year and a half at that point, maybe a year. Can't remember exactly when that tape came out, but that's beside the point. And so now, like, if we kind of fast forward, right, well, you and I were kids, like we were, I mean, let's just say kids to teens at the time that Pokemon was coming out. We're old. We're unks, but yeah. So, in that regard, like, I think I do view games and media of the sorts just, like, with rose-colored glasses, right? Because of the nostalgia goggles, Don't you? Yeah, so it's like... So, yes, if I take myself back to, like, Pokemon Red and Blue, at the time, that was incredible to me. Like, I just loved it. Now, if you play it nowadays, like, how are you going to feel? Well, you probably feel how, like, primitive it feels and everything. You could respect it. Like, like looking at an old butter churn. You know, you could give it respect, but like, you know, it still plays pretty like a Game Boy game. So,
right.
So,
Right.
like, I hope that that kind of paints the picture that it's like, okay, well, now we fast forwarded, but, like, if I think about that, I definitely have those nostalgia goggles for it. I'm like, you know, Red and Blue is, like, still my favorite games, but, like, are they really nowadays? You know, it's all time and place. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, if you think about it, it's like the video games are just such a, it's almost like a, I mean, I don't want to say they're a small portion. They're actually quite a large portion of Pokemon. But it's like you could almost say 50% video games and then 50% other forms of entertainment is Pokemon. So if you look in just the last decade, but like one of the things is they're just announced and are talking about the opening of Poke Park Kanto. So like in Japan, did you see that? How they're going to have like a kind of real life Pokemon park?
Yes, I remember seeing that.
Yeah,
which
like
I would love. I think you sent it to me actually.
Oh, did I? I forget that. That's funny. Yeah, I totally forgot that I sent that. But yeah, like to me, that's incredible. You know, I would have loved that as a child. I would have loved that even as a teenager. I would love that now, but I'm just saying, you know, like imagine my son who's 8 years old. Like he would love that. Love that. So like that's really cool. That has nothing to do other than it's inspired by the video games. You're not playing a video game, right? You're going to a park. But like there's been mobile games, of course the console games like that, but like the TCG, dude, the trading card game was dope even in our day, like the base set and jungle days and stuff. I still have my cards and everything, but like look at where the TCG is now, dude. We could go on a whole nother rant about that. I know that you're not in Pokemon cards, but have you seen like anything about it?
I mean, I remember like searching, I think, you know, some cards for you and whatnot, and just how tough it was. You know what I mean? And people camp out.
Yes.
Or, you know, and really like check on when the next order is coming in, like at GameStop, Target, you know what I mean? So it's still a huge thing. Like, you know, and honestly, I like that for Pokemon, and I like that for people who are fans, you know, like yourself, and you know, others that are really still like huge fans of like collecting Pokemon cards and stuff. It's still, even though, you know, we might be Ox now, you know what I mean? It's still, I still like it get things like that still give us joy. You know what I mean? Yeah,
so I love the card game again. Like, what brought me back into it was when they did the Pokemon Go set, and like now I have a child too. So like I mentioned having a kid, so like it's very good for me. But I will tell you, Wally, one thing that's rough about it is that, like, yeah, with these people camping out, a lot of people joke that they don't have jobs and stuff. I don't know what the reality is, but, like, these people camping out, they get to Target at, like, 7:30 for a 10:30 a.m. restock. Dude, that's, like, 3 hours of waiting. And a lot of people say they're going to be flipping it, right? So they're going to, like, double or triple the profit. Honestly, when you do, like, an hourly comparison or whatever, Target has limits. You might only be able to do like 2 or 3 per product or something. I don't know, maybe you'll make the money that you need. I guess they wouldn't do it if they didn't make the money, but like that seems crazy to me. So, you know, there is that element. But what sucks, Wally, is that, like, you know, if I want some cards for my kid, I can't just go get them. You know what I mean? It's not that simple. And so I do think that the Pokemon company themselves, they spoke a big game, and they said, like, hey, we're gonna print a lot more product, you know, it's gonna be a lot better, right? And like they rest assured, it's not, you know, it still hasn't. They put out that message like almost, gosh, that was definitely over a year ago, but I don't know if that was like longer than that, but at least about a year ago. And the problem is that I think that the Pokemon company could help. They could help assuage some of that by putting it more regularly on their own website, thepokemoncenter.com. If I want to get, you know, the newest set, which just came out today, well, as we record this, it's November 14th, Phantasmal Flames. This is a Charizard kind of themed set to some degree. A Mega Charizard X, you know, is like one of the cards. Dude, this thing's selling for like $300. You know what I'm saying? This card from Mega Charizard X, it's crazy. But point being that I wish I could get it, Wally. Like, I really want to get this set. And so I'm lucky enough that I got an Elite Trainer box, which has 9 booster packs in it, but I have not been able to find much of anything else, you know, and I will not pay people who go and take those and then charge double or triple the price. I think, listen to me, man, it's like if a local card shop or even some scalping douche, if someone wants to charge, let's say that the product costs $60 at MSRP, if they want to charge just under 80 or something and make a small profit, I'm like cool with that. But dude, when they start charging 120, 140 for this thing that costs like $60, F you, you know, like I'm not down with that. I will not pay that. That is a gross, you know, like amount. That is a gross markup, and that's scummy. That's whack.
Sure.
Yeah, so anyway, this is all to say, you know, Pokemon nowadays, right, is like people our age are into it, while also kids are into it. And so, like, go ahead.
No. I want you to go first. Like, what you get?
I was going to say, have you ever heard that talking point that people started saying around that Pokemon Sword and Shield time with the Switch? They were saying, like, maybe Pokemon games aren't made for you and me. So, you and me being people our ages, right? Have you ever heard that?
No, I mean, well, not specifically about Pokemon, but, you know, you always go through... You see stuff online. Like, I even see people saying, at your grown age, you still playing video games. Well, at your grown age. Like in Nintendo games in general. You know, I guess we're supposed to be like more only core gamer type at age or not game at all. But, I mean, on Pokemon specifically, I mean, I haven't heard anything. But, you know, to the people that want to talk junk about people at our quote unquote grown age and liking Pokemon, you know what? Yes, we do. We love it. Okay.
Yeah. The reason I brought that up is because it's like some people did want to argue that the Pokemon games is mainly what they were talking about. They claim that they're not really being made for people like you and me. They're being made for children. And so I do contest that. Like, I don't really agree with that. I do think that, yes, they make them family friendly. There's a difference, though, right? Is like family friendly or for children. No, I think everybody can enjoy it. And Nintendo's always been good at that. So Game Freak and Pokemon, the Pokemon company, they kind of, they're such an extension of Nintendo. You know, they operate in such a similar way, even if they're not the same exact entity. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. So... point being that I think, you know, that would be like a little bit ridiculous to me, honestly, to say that like it's only for kids, you know, like it's being made only for kids. No, I don't think so. But, yeah.
What I was going to ask, you know, while we still on the topic about ZA is like, how do you feel about the Mega Evolution? Like, okay, like there's a lot of conversation about Starmie, right? And, you know, while people say it might look goofy and stuff, dude, when I see the memes and the Patrick Star memes,
Patrick.
I fell in love with it, dude. I fell in love just by the memes. The memes make me fall in love with it so much.
I knew you would.
Hilarious.
I'm down with Mega Starmie. That's fine. Like, I feel like Mega Dragonite looked like a Palworld character. You know, it looked like Quivern from Palworld. So, like, Mega Dragonite, some people had some problems with. You know, listen, to me, this is something that's also good to talk about with Pokemon really briefly, is just that, like, I am somewhere in between when it comes to gimmicks, let's say, quote unquote, mechanics, right? So, like, are they going to have Dynamax, you know, in Sword and Shield, and then Mega Evolution, and then they came up with Terastallizing in Scarlet and Violet. And so, like, I actually think that I'm probably in a pretty healthy spot mentally when I say that, Wally, because I'm not a shill who just loves the Pokemon games, no matter what the mechanic is. Like, I will tell you, I did not give a crap for Terastallization. I liked it to some degree because there was some strategy, but, like, I don't really care about it. Terastallization didn't really sell me on the game, you know. But, like, for instance, I really actually liked Dynamax, you know, you and me doing those raids and stuff. And so, you know, I can kind of discern for myself. Again, I think it's like a healthy place to be mentally about it. is that I some of them I like and some of them I don't, you know, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, that's how it should be. Because of course some people get accused online nowadays of being like super shills for Pokemon. Oh, you just buy any slop that gets made or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
All this extremes. You and I are such like not extreme people for the most part, you know, so like this kind of stuff's always tough on me, is like, you know, thinking about why do people think this about other people. It's just like so extreme.
That fire is like, it was at a level 7. Like, what the freak?
Yeah, I think I didn't feed it, like, see this oxygen, see how it's starting to go up again, is like, we gotta use the fire blower, but like, we gotta make the general shape again, because you're right, like, I think a lot of the bottom ones burn to a crisp, and so we have some that are almost ready to go. Like, if you look at some of these logs, they have like a red bar. That's what we want to see, is where it says like something degrees until it's lit. That's what we want to see, because we want them to get lit. We want to, unfortunately, you and me not getting lit right now, but we want our fire to get lit. We can't do that no more. But yeah, so that's kind of what I think. I think the state of it is like, I am open to the console games, like, and whatever mechanic they're going to show. You know, there's going to be a Generation 10 that's going to hit the streets sometime, probably within the next year or two. They'll announce it, you know, so we'll be looking towards that. But Wally, I wanted to say that, like, something that I've discovered in the last decade is that I actually enjoy Pokemon's other experiences more than I do the console games most of the time now. So think about, basically, once Pokemon Go started, I started liking the spin-offs, and I started liking the mobile games, which sounds crazy. I'm not crazy into mobile games, right? Like, I never was. And so, like, that Pokemon Go, honestly, like, kind of got me more into mobile gaming, if I ever do it, but I mean, with what time. But
right.
Yeah, so like Pokemon Go, I love. That game is like actually one of the best Pokemon experiences. I can kind of almost objectively argue, which is weird to some people, but the reason is because Pokemon Go is an actual library of everything Pokemon coming up until this point. Meaning that, okay, it's got Dynamax in it, you know, Gigantamax, but it also has Mega Evolution, but it also has Ultra Wormholes, but it also has Legendary Raids. Like, it's got everything that we've done other than what's been released, right? Like, they don't have terrestrialization yet, but it's going to, you know? And, like, think about how cool Pokemon Sun and Moon were, because they had some of the largest Pokédex of all time. You know, it was like you could have so many of the Pokemon in the Pokédex. Pokemon Go is that game, dude. And Pokemon Go has gone for how long, Wally? It's going to be a decade.
2016, right?
2016. It's going to be a decade next summer, like in 2026. That's 10 years for a mobile game?
Do you remember the launch of that bad boy? Everybody, and I mean, when I say every age group was in it, people that didn't even know, but only Pokemon they knew was Pikachu.
Yeah,
you know, what I mean? Had Pokemon Go. Like, people I worked with, like my colleagues, and you know, you work somewhere, you work with people that's a lot older than you and don't, know certain things about the game, but they were even out there like taking a walk during their break and like trying to go to the Pokestops that was on, you know, the place that I worked and whatnot. And I'm like, this is the power that Pokemon Go has. You know what I mean? The aura, as they say this day and time, that game, that app was given. So, you know, like, for sure, man, I get where you're coming from when you say, you know, Pokemon Go is like...
Yeah, like, even objectively, like, some of it's subjective, meaning it's an opinion, right? Some of it you can't, like, argue factually based, but what I was saying factually is just that it does have, like, probably the largest Pokédex, you know, it's got, like, the national dex to it, it's got all the mechanics in one, it's like this sophisticated mobile game that's had the lasting power and the revenue power, so, like, again, those are all objective things, they're factual things about it. So anyway, but then just opinion-wise, yeah, I love it too. Like my opinion is also high of it, but yeah. So that kind of just brings me to like, well, in the last decade or so, they've done a ton of mobile experiences and a ton of like spin-off experiences. Because even on the Switch, you could get like Pokemon Quest. It was like that Minecraft graphics looking thing where it's like a expedition type game. I don't know if you ever played that, but yeah, so like some of those spin-offs, like I still contest that one of the best Pokemon spin-off games they could do is imagine the anime where there was that Ponyta Rapidash episode and they had like a race. Remember that with Dario? Yeah. They should do a game like that where it's like a race, but each Pokemon is like teamed up with either another Pokemon riding, like Pikachu on Squirtle, or like a trainer riding on top. So like one guy was on the Electrode and he was really good going down the hill because he was standing on top of it, and they're like, who's that breaking out in the front? It is the guy on the Electrode.
And like Misty, she was riding Starmie, right? Or Staryu.
Yeah, Starmie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like imagine that, right? Like a game that is based off of that principle. They could add more characters too and more Pokemon, but I'm just saying. So like, to me, that would be a pretty cool game. Like it would be kind of peak, like you could even stop for food and like get your stamina back up,
Like even the first Pokemon Snap, like that went hard to me. I love that game.
And so then in the last decade, they come out with new Snap. Remember, new Pokemon Snap. And that game was good. I think it was good. It didn't, capture me the same way because, again, probably nostalgia goggles, But the first one was really just a piece of art. I mean, I listen to that music that's like da 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 dun 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 dun. And I'm just like, damn, this takes me back. Dun 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 dun. Do 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 do.
Have that, like you said, that nostalgia feeling to it.
Yeah, I still got my Blockbuster card, and I still got my little thing from you could print out your pictures at Blockbuster. So, like, you would take your game card there it was so cool for the Nintendo 64, and you go to Blockbuster's kiosk and print out your stickers of your pictures that you took in the game. That's wild. Like, that doesn't exist now. Like, the way it exists now is you doing your own crap, but, like, Pokemon Company ain't doing it.
And I mean, you could do so much on your phone now, but you got to really think back at that time. That was some innovative stuff. Like, that was like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, really take yourself back to that time. Like you said, that was crazy.
Yeah, that's so cool. I mean, that just like, that also gets your parents involved, even if they don't want to be, but like, they take you to Blockbuster, see you print out your stickers and stuff. It was dope. That's awesome, man. So, just comparing nowadays, it's like, I don't want to just fully be nostalgia goggles, but I know that I am. It's just, there are some cool things, but a lot of what I find the coolest is some of these, like, spin-off and some of these other games, secondary games, other Pokemon experiences. Now we got the trading cards. They've got Pokemon movies, of course. Mario's hitting the big screen, so, like, they're going hard on the movies. They're going on theme park. They're going to have Pokemon Park, as we said. It's just, that to me is what really is making Pokemon still feel largely alive. I'm not saying all the console games have been bad. I really didn't like Scarlet and Violet. I really did not. Like, I seriously did not like that game. And so that's sad because I had high hopes for it. Like, a region based on Spain and Portugal, like, I thought that would be such a cool region. And like some of the Pokemon they were announcing, I'm like, yes, Lechonk, Sprigatito, this looks dope. And then the game just sucked. Like, I just hate it. I absolutely hate it. I just hate it. Oh my god.
And I hate that. Someone who's really is like, like yourself, that has that's a huge fan of the series. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't feel good crapping on that game. I had high hopes. I bought it, you know what I mean? Like, I bought it. Here's the thing about ZA, Wally, to finish that point on ZA and what happened in the last decade, here's the data, is that Pokemon Legends ZA is in the top 5 of the highest selling of the franchise. Can you believe that? So,
really?
Yes. This game... It's crazy. I got the exact numbers for you right here, is that it sold 5.8 million copies worldwide in its first week, making it the 5th best-selling launch for the franchise. roughly half of those in the first week, those sales were on the Nintendo Switch 2 specifically, which indicates, like a pretty strong start for Switch 2 to have it too,
Yeah.
Because that's another like element to this whole story, right? Is how many people have adopted Switch 2 as opposed to Switch 1 only. So,
Right.
yeah. So, that's a successful launch kind of in total, except for the total sales, though, in that first week were lower than Scarlet and Violet, which did 10 million. And I think even Pokemon Legends Arceus did 6.5, but it's like still ramping up. So I don't know what the current numbers are, but that was just the first week. And I'll tell you, the last little like fun data point on that is that in the United States, its physical launch, so not even digital counting, but just like the physical sales of Pokemon Legends, they were the biggest for any new title since Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So, that's wild to me, man, because like people don't even buy physical all the time now,
Yeah.
And so, it does make me wonder a little bit. I'm like, is it the Pokemon IP or is it like actually a good game? And, I guess most people are saying they enjoy it if they bought it, but a lot of people are also crapping on it. So that's why I wanted to get your opinion of what you thought it looked like, and anybody that's watching this video.
Yeah, and again, I haven't. You can. I am a big believer of, yes, you look at reviews, you see if something is appealing to you. Mm-hmm. But I've also had situations where you actually hands on with it, you might actually enjoy it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why, I don't have a strong opinion on it because I haven't actually played it yet. But I will say, watching other people play and just seeing, some of the videos on TikTok and whatnot, like it does seem like some people are having fun with it, and maybe that's just the video because I've been enjoying so many of the Starmie videos that are showing me the people that actually enjoy it, what I mean, instead of the people that actually don't enjoy it. You know how TikTok works, they give you the algorithm and it sticks with it. But that's why I don't have like much of a strong opinion on that game. Mm-hmm. But what I will say, on just to get back on the within the last decade, I will say Pokemon did have done a good job. Like you said, this one I question: is it the IP or is it actually good games? Yeah. I would say they've done a good job keeping the brand alive.
Yes, that's kind of what I was trying to. Perhaps I was implying some of that too. That I feel the same as you when I was saying like, it's other experiences alongside the games that have really kept it lively for me. Me personally. But like it seems like that's true, right? Because everybody's experiencing Pokemon in all these ways, the TCG and everything we've mentioned. So, yeah. Now, Wally, let's take about 5, maybe 10 minutes to talk about Palworld specifically versus Pokemon, and kind of you can also mention other games too. It's kind of more just the point of what is Pokemon like now with competition, because you and me love Palworld. We, like I said, this is like direct competitor, like a direct copy of a monster tamer. It just has the creature catching elements to it, but it's kind of more at its core like a combat and survival game. So yeah, like I like to specify that because sometimes people think like if they don't really know, I think there's a lot of judgment on Palworld without knowing it. It's like, you and me have mutuals that we know that will not touch Palworld because they're so loyal to Pokemon. Like they are so loyal that they're like, no, I hate this. Like I don't want to even know about Palworld, because they've bought into the hype that they think like, oh, Palworld is stealing all of Pokemon's mechanics, and if you just read the news, it's like, okay, Palworld being sued by the Pokemon Company or by Nintendo for this patent and stuff like that. And it's like, if you just read that headline, you're not really getting involved, right?
Sure, yeah, I get what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, and so like, which, by the way, we should say, I think what's interesting about that lawsuit is that it's like, the last thing that I feel like well, not the last thing, but it's like they should not have sued Palworld for that. I think the only thing that Palworld did that was kind of bad and as it relates to Pokemon is that they did make designs dangerously close to them. So like Anubis, it does look like Lucario. You know what I mean? So it's like, of course, Grisbolt reminds us of Electabuzz. Of course it does. So like, I think that there's something there. But is it legally distinct enough? I don't really know. I don't know the law good enough if those are distinct enough designs to skirt the law. I don't know.
I mean, a lot of stuff takes inspiration from other games. You see it all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's my only thing that I have with that. Like, Pokemon, it has its name. I think it's the first time it had some actual direct competition to make them go, oh shoot, people catching on to this. Like, this isn't like one of those other little copycat games. People are like, okay, this is like the no shade to Temu or Tubi or nothing like that, but this is like the Temu or Tubi version of we seen it before.
Yes.
Like those brands, like a game that you can truly see it was inspired by Legend of Zelda or whatever. But I think this is the first time Pokemon actually saw like, oh crap, like they got something here. I actually feel like either Pokemon was already in the process of trying to work on something and Palworld beat them to the punch, or they actually saw Palworld actually do something and they're like, why didn't we think of that? Oh crap, they owned to something and people caught on to it. You know what I mean? I think that's what probably why gosh knows. What can I think of on the Game Freak? Why they kind of, no pun intended, freaked out because they saw like yes, is there inspiration there? No doubt. I mean, I got to keep it a buck. There's definitely inspiration, Pokemon and Palworld, but I just felt like they put their own twist to it, and like you said, made it a survival game. I mean, it's awesome. If you actually play it, it's a fun game. It's a fun game to play with a party. I mean, with Sword and Shield, can we party up together? Yes, but it was like we only could battle together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This, you can build your camps. It took it to another level for multiplaying as well, which, like you and I, we, that's how we game. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Everyone there together, and I just felt like Palworld just took it to that level, and I felt like Pokemon just Game Freak just like kind of like felt some type of way about that because it was their first, like you said, first time having a real competition. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that there had to be truth in what you're saying in the respect that there have been a lot of other games. Temtem is one that came out. Koromon. Even some of these are using the name Mon in them. You know what I mean? Like,
Digimon.
Yeah, I was like, hell, there's Digimon. You know what I mean? So it's like, there are other games, but why was Pokemon shaken over Palworld, right? Is because Palworld did amazing, and some people want to say, like, Palworld lost everything that it used to have. It's like the Pokemon Go effect. People say Pokemon Go's dead because it's not like it used to be. It's like, okay, so you're talking about a game that had, like 160 billion players or something, now has like 160 million. It's like, dude, that ain't dead. You know what I mean? It's like,
I know. Just because you don't see like I said before, like the people that were non-players or people that weren't even into Pokemon like that had Pokemon Go. The people that's truly still that love Pokemon still play that actively. My cousin, he still go to Pokestops. He's still on Pokemon Go actively because he's a huge Pokemon fan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yourself, like, people that are really truly into it. No, that game, that app is not dead by any means necessary. If you know, you know.
Yeah. So to that point with Palworld, It peaked 1.8 years ago. That was like about when it launched. I have the data right here in front of me. 2,101,867 players. 101,876. Whatever. So you get my drift. You know how many people are playing this right now? 25,995 players. Yes, that's a hell of a lot lower than 2 million, but that's awesome, dude. This game came out almost 2 years ago, and it's supposed to be some stupid Pokemon clone if you like listen to other people. You know what I mean? Like, that's pretty amazing to me, man. That's pretty remarkable because Palworld doesn't do super regular updates. They do put in updates, but they don't do them, you know, every month. It's like they are just going based on the fun of that game alone, really. You know?
Yeah.
And that's awesome to me, man. I got mad respect for that. It's like, I don't like Waylon Jennings, but if he's putting fucking 60,000 people in some country bumpkin bar, I don't say that sucks. I got mad respect for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so anyway, like, the point is that Palworld, it caught on to something, and so it's, of course, like Pokemon, Nintendo, they done sued them, because why didn't they sue Tim? Why didn't they sue Koromon or Digimon or you know, any of these other, especially if it's not based off the designs? That's my point, right? If they're truly basing it off the patent of summoning a creature from a sphere-like object, dude, my son was playing this game on his iPad that was called Negamons, N-E-G-A. Yep. Yeah, Negamons. It's like, first off, it has the name Negamon in it, so it's like Mon again. But like, aside from that, it is absolutely like, they like straight up rip like Charmander, Bulbasaur, Squirtle practically, you know, and like they have spheres in that game. They have like Pokeballs basically. They're little like frisbee looking things around the ball. But like, I'm just telling you, there are games out there. So why were they not sued? Why is it Pocket Pair? There's a reason. Because of Palworld. And like we said, dude, it's just a fresh game. I just love Palworld. It's just, there's so much fun things to do. Palworld is so streamlined, and this is what I really don't like about like modern Pokemon most of the time. And I had high hopes for Legends ZA to kind of do this, because all things were like pointing to it, right, with a real-time combat system instead of turn-based. Palworld is so streamlined that you can like be sprinting down the hill, right, and then use the crouch command, and that'll make you slide down that hill. You can use that momentum of sliding down that hill to then jump, then activate your glider like in Breath of the Wild and get propelled even further, then use a grappling hook to hit the mountain and pull yourself up on that, and then double jump up to the mountain. That's such a streamline, like that would take ages to get to that mountain in Pokemon, when you can do it in like 10 seconds in Palworld and feel the exhilarating rush of it. You know, so it's like, Palworld is so streamlined, like on all those things. You throw a ball and you don't sit there and wait for it to jiggle. You can keep running around, right? So like, you know, they tried to do that in Scarlet and Violet, I think, and they tried to do it in like Legends Arceus, I believe. You didn't have to like sit there and watch it. But generally the formula has been for the longest time, throw a ball, you have to sit there and watch it wiggle, you know? It's like, dude, in Palworld, you just go. Like, I could catch, you know, like 50 pals in like a minute, you know? Like, you could just keep throwing, and you can make the balls. Like, you know, you can craft them. So.
Yes. That, what I hope, you know, I mean, and again, as much as, you know, I love the Pokemon franchise, and I respect everything that they do. The creativity that just coming up with the concept, period.
Yes.
I hope that, you know, when it gets to legal stuff, you know, I try to watch what I say. But, you know,
we're not trying to piss people off.
No, we're not, people. Okay. We love the franchise. Just want to put it out there.
Yeah.
But, you know, I hope Palworld doesn't like fade away. I hope they come back with like you said, I know they still do updates. We just haven't played in a while and whatnot. But I hope they don't, the creators of Palworld don't give up, don't let this situation kind of defeat their the momentum and their drive. Yes. I hope they continue, either make another game, add on to Palworld. I mean, because I think it deserved its recognition, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, Oh, go ahead.
I mean, no, I was just gonna say, again, yes, it did take inspiration, but the what they did with the game, though, I mean, I think they honestly deserve to have the recognition that they gotten from the game, the reviews and stuff. But yes, that's all I was gonna say.
Yeah, and just like even to take 30 seconds to say it is like they're having something called Pal Farm come out, and it's going to be like their kind of Animal Crossing style simulator of Palworld, like, so I think they are. Yeah, do you remember that? Yeah, so like they're gonna do stuff like that, and Pocket Pair is the name of the developers, and Pocket Pair actually, I think this is kind of charitable to some degree, but they let other game developers come to them and they act as a publisher for them, so they are bringing games that wouldn't otherwise see the light, and Pocket Pair is publishing them, so Pocket Pair is becoming the partners to a lot of, let's say, indie studios or indie individuals who are making games, so that's really cool. And so I think you and I can kind of end off just by saying, well, Pokemon has something up their sleeves here. We can do a little outro after we talk about it, but I want to get your feelings on the somewhat newly announced Pokopia. So Pokemon Pokopia is essentially like a Animal Crossing style Pokemon game. And speaking of Palworld, don't you think there has to be like a little bit? Like, I feel like they took a little thinking like, hey, Palworld has this like base building thing. Because now you're going to have your Pokemon be able to like build a base, essentially. They can build an island. It's a little more friendly.
Yes. So, I mean, I can look at it two ways. Yes, I can look at it that way. Honestly, the first thing that I looked at it, like you said, mostly Animal Crossing at first before I thought about, in Palworld, the pals actually help you build a base.
Yeah.
I would say with Potopia, like I didn't think of Palworld first. I thought of Animal Crossing first.
Yeah, me too.
Honestly, but I can get where that, where people can get, can see that correlation as well. But just looking at the trailer again and whatnot, like I definitely feel like that is something that I will get. You know what I mean? That I will enjoy playing. With you and whatnot. You just have such a creative mind. I'm not a crafty person by any means, but you're like very creative and crafty. So that's why I enjoy playing. Which even with my Island on Animal Crossing, like you help me. You help me with it. Like I'm not a crafty person. Yes, I'm not a crafty person at all. But I enjoy like getting like farming and stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah,
I'm like, here, Wally, you and I just do all the labor for this, and I'll give it the vision.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I actually enjoy doing that part of it. It's just I have trouble like putting it together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's cool. But that's what I am gonna definitely, top Pokémon when it comes out.
Yeah, like I think even without seeing quote unquote reviews or something, like I'd be interested to see and play Pokopia. So yeah, I think I'm gonna get it too, and I think it's really cool. Again, this is a spin-off. This is not a main series RPG of it. Like, and I think it looks incredible. So like again, I feel like the franchise is just really held together so to make it more lively with things like this.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's going to be up to 4 players, and it's going to have the game share, too. Like, you and I are playing this Fire game with game share. So even if Shambler or somebody doesn't have the game immediately, they'll be able to game share to a Switch 1. So he could play it on his Switch 1, even though it comes out on Switch 2.
Yes. Now, and I wait to on our outro to think of this next topic. Just trying to write myself a note here so I can remember. But so Pokopia, like, do you from looking at the trailer, like again, it does seem, just seems like something we'll definitely enjoy. I hope how you explained to me, like, which I didn't know, like I didn't have a chance to watch
Kit and Crystal.
Crystal's video about the budget that they use for ZA, And while this is, again, not considered mainline, I do hope that it's polished.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is a game that can get away with a certain lack of polish, just being different than the RPGs, but that doesn't give the excuse, right? There's a balance there.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't mean create a piece of crap. It just means, like... So, yeah, like, I see what you're saying. The potential, like, total cost, if you put in, like, marketing and localization and support factors in there, is like, yeah, you probably took a $13 million development budget and ended up with, like, 40 to 80 million for Pokemon Legends EA. So, like, there is another budget to consider with that. It's just the 13 million was the development. And that's a high profitability, I guess, if you think about, like, the sales that it did. It needs to sell approximately, like, 200,000, maybe 217,000 is what Kit and Krista said, to hit the break even on development. That's just the development budget alone. So, yeah, high profitability on that. But ultimately, yeah, I mean, they have a good thing here, I think, with Pokopia, so I'm looking forward to that, and I think you and I should try to wrap this up. So kind of, any last thoughts on Pokopia, and then you could segue it into anything else you want to say?
No, that's pretty much, that I have on Pokopia.
Okay.
At the moment.
Yeah, did you have anything else that we've talked about today, or something new about Pokemon, or whatever?
How would you feel about I wouldn't say a horror Pokemon game, but, like, when I say survival, like, when you're in the wilderness, really put yourself in a trainer's, like...
So be horror said.
Like, kind of like, Palworld is survival. You go. I mean, even now, like, you have Pokemon that go, like the alpha Pokemon and whatnot, and like they're chasing your ass down. But you, like, really give it more of an ominous feel. I mean, I know they can only go back so far. I'm not talking about blood and gore,
right,
what I mean, like that. But give it like an ominous feel. You really out in the wilderness somewhere, and you think about catching wild Pokemon. Yes, you have some that are more mild-mannered and more friendly, but really a survival Pokemon game. Like, how would you feel about something like that, if you get what I'm trying to say?
So, like, me personally would feel that that's cool. I know that they wouldn't do it because, yes, it's true that they don't make the games for kids alone, but they need to have it accessible for kids, and kids actually love horror games, so we got to think here. Yeah, yes, they do. So it's like, we have to think here that we don't mean, like, sniveling babies or something like that. I just mean more that, like, they still have this image, that they project. And I think Legends Arceus was kind of the closest that they got to what you're talking about, because that game even discusses, like, almost like murder. They're like, if you go out there, you won't come back, like, there's some dark stuff.
Right. Yeah.
But, yeah, people kind of brought this up when they first introduced Mega Victory Bell into the whole thing, because, like, the video for it was kind of this, like, horror looking at this laboratory, like, Blair Witch Project holding a camera,
Yeah.
And so, like, again, to me, like, I'm cool with it, I do think just any kind of different take on the franchise, I'm actually here for. So, like, honestly, I think that there should be a Pokemon real-time strategy game, which is like Warcraft and Starcraft and Command and Conquer and stuff. Base build in, then you send units to the other side. Like, yeah, I think that would be cool. I think the racing game that I talked about would be cool. So, yeah, if there's like this kind of survival...
She thought about with the racing game. That was great. Yeah, I like that. But
yeah, so, like, I'd be down, hearing you say that about a survival game, I'd be down. I know they wouldn't make it. Like you said, there's no blood and gore for sure, but, like, how dark would they go? How actually scary could it be? I don't know. They have to figure out their own Pokemon way to do it.
Game Freak talk to the Kindle,
oh my gosh. Oh no. Well, that's very kind of you, but yeah, we appreciate everybody who stuck around for this. We got in just under an hour long. We like to try to make these 45 minutes long, but if we go a little over, it's all right. But yeah, Wally, I love you. I thank you so much for having these conversations with me, and anybody that watched it, please leave your opinions about anything down in the comments.
Thank you for having me.
Peace.